USA.
Last year at the World Championships, Simone Biles powered the U.S. team to gold and claimed a record 4th world all-around title. Since then, the world's best has somehow managed to get even better. And today, she aims to lead the Americans to a 5th straight world team title. NBC Sports welcomes you to the 2019 World Gymnastics Championships presented by Olympic Channel, home of Team USA. Hans-Martin Schleyer Hall here in Stuttgart, Germany is the site for the 49th edition of the World Championships. Today, it's the women's team final. And hi, everybody. Terry Gannon along with Olympic champs Nastia Liukin and Tim Daggett. She is the best in her sport. She has been the best in her sport for quite some time. In most people's opinions, she is the best ever in her sport. And Simone Biles, Tim, keeps taking this sport to new heights.
It's unbelievable, you know, and it's not just the titles and the medals. Everybody knows about this. It's the dominance in which she wins. The next best competitors in the world compared to Simone Biles, they all stop, talk to each other, look at her in absolute awe. That's how amazing she is.
And it's hard not to watch, especially when she is doing skills like this. Triple twisting, double back, made history here. That is officially now called the Biles, but it didn't stop there. She performed this skill at the National Championships a few months ago, but to officially have it named the Biles, had to do it successfully here, no problem at all. Then, of course, later in the competition on the balance beam, a double twisting double back. Once again, the Biles. No female gymnast has ever done that in the entire world.
I don't think anyone's thought of doing it until her.
No one wants to do that. Yeah, and remember, all of this as we just really get underway now, that all in the qualifications. We got the women's team title on top here, and she's going to be in everything. So you'll get a chance to watch Simone Biles all week from Stuttgart. You talk about gymnasts recognizing her, the greats in all the sports, celebrities as well recognize her. Just the other day, LeBron James with the tweet, "Simone, you are flat out incredible," at Simone Biles. And so recognition, greatness to greatness, but it's not just about her. When you look at this American team, guys, it is a formidable team.
Yeah, they are very deep. I said that Team USA could come to these championships with their B squad and still come out on top. But you have amazing athletes like Suni Lee. She is in her first ever World Championships as a senior gymnast. She's unbelievable. We also used to say that Simone could fall 2, 3, maybe even 4 times in a competition, still win. Not so with Suni Lee. I think she gets 1 fall, but not 2.
And you know, she qualified into the all-around finals, which will happen later this week, in 2nd place behind Simone Biles with a fall on the balance beam. She did not fall here, however. Absolutely stunning routine. Extremely great chance of not only just making it on that podium, but possibly winning that world title later in the week as well.
Teenager finished right behind Simone Biles at the National Championships, and now with her at the World Championships here, and today in the women's team final. And it has been a powerhouse for the U.S. as of late. They go after their 7th women's team title, and look at what they've done lately. 4 in a row. They also have won 6 of the last 8. And oh, by the way, they have also won the last 2 Olympic gold medals. So they enter here in Stuttgart as the overwhelming favorites as we get underway from the World Championships with the women's team final. Back in Stuttgart and ready for the World Championships and the women's team final. Started on vault with the Americans, and Grace McCallum, the 16-year-old from Minnesota who made big strides last year at this level.
She can stick this. Oh, a little bit more juice than maybe she's accustomed to.
Second trip to the World Championships for her, part of that team gold last year, and coming off an all-around bronze medal, the U.S. Nationals.
And as you mentioned, Tim, so she normally has a really great landing, and she had a great vault here. She stayed, you see those 2 lines, you want to stay in bounds, but perhaps just a little too much adrenaline right off the bat on the first event.
The difference between qualification, you've been here a while, and now you get the team event underway. What's the energy-wise? How is that different as we take a look at Angelina Melnikova from Russia, one of the favorites for a medal this year?
Absolutely. She is really one of the leaders for the Russian team. Little bit.
To connect to this skill right here. So she is losing a little bit in the difficulty.
Russia, of course, was third after qualification. Little bit of a struggle right there. Handles it well, though. But, you know, it's a little up in the air for that, you know, bronze, that second and third. It's a solid routine, but certainly she put about 5/10 on the table that Team Russia may really be hoping they could get back.
And so in this team competition, it is extremely important you only put 3 athletes up on each apparatus, and all 3 scores have to count. Whereas in the qualifying round of competition, 4 athletes go up, 3 scores count. You have a little room for error there.
That's the number for Grace McCallum, 14.6 on her vault to open it up for the U.S. And of course, the change next year at the Olympics with 4 athletes making up a team.
Yeah, this team is 5 in qualifying. As Nastia said, 4 go up. You count the top 3. In team finals, only 3 up, 3 count.
China on vault as well. Tong Xijing, the 16-year-old.
Nice job right there. Double twisting Yurchenko. China has actually really improved on vault. Historically has not been a great event for them. She's a little high on the table, higher than I've seen her in Stuttgart, and so she can't get the same explosion off of the table that she typically does, but still a solid ball.
So what are we calling this area now where the athletes sit and wait? The judgment chair, the smile and frown? We're not going with kiss and cry.
I was about to say, in other sports, it's the kiss and cry.
See the number for Melnikova.
In the qualifying, a lot of the athletes were like, I'm not going there. I'm going over to my bag. I'm going to go talk to my coach.
Well, and that's kind of what we're accustomed to doing. You want to either hopefully celebrate a great routine with your teammates, not be isolated in a chair.
That's got to be uncomfortable, though, as you sit and wait. Giorgia Villa from Italy, 16-year-old. And this is always uncomfortable, I would imagine, too, where they hold you.
This might be my least favorite part of competing. You just want the green light, the green flag from the judges, the hurry up and wait, the nerves.
So the number for Tong Xijing from China, as Villa, who won 4 medals at the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires.
The all-around as well. Very nice start for Italy. They are a completely reworked team from the recent World Championships. 4 new team members, including Georgia.
And over to vault with the U.S. and Jade, Carey, the 19-year-old from Phoenix. She was terrific in qualifying.
Actually had the top score going into event finals. They'll wipe that clean. This is called a Cheng. Very complicated. And another great vault from Jade, Carey.
And, you know, and that's the difference that we will see here on this event and really a lot of the other ones, specifically here, is that difficulty. Tim, you mentioned the Chinese gymnasts have really improved on vault. They're still not quite at that level as the American gymnast.
Yeah, this vault actually has a maximum score of 16.0. A lot of the gymnasts, like the first Chinese we saw, that has a 15.8. Grace McCallum's was a 15.8 as well.
Jade, a world silver medalist back in 2017 on vault and on floor, by the way. This time around, going a different route, trying to get to Tokyo, trying to earn an individual spot in the Apparatus World Cup Series. If you follow the sport, you know that's a change, new qualification or a path to try to get there. 29.766.
15.166 points.
Shijia now on vault getting set. What do you think about the other path to qualifying and what they've done with that?
Personally, I'm not a fan. You know, I'm just truly a fan of either 5, 6, preferably, athletes on an Olympic team. In my opinion, 4 doesn't necessarily make up a team.
They may rework that after this time around.
They absolutely are, actually, already. Going to be back to that 5-person team.
Same vault we saw from Grace McCallum, double twist.
You know, and it was a good vault, not as much, again, as I kind of mentioned, not as much power and amplitude.
But it's a big deal for China to have 3 vaults that are 5.8. In the past, they've had a number of gymnasts that have competed just a simple layout full off of the table. Every time you add a half turn on vault, it goes up 0.4 of a point each increment.
Giorgia Villa from Italy, who said the goal was to qualify for the Olympics, and they have done that as a team. The 8 here plus, and we'll talk about it, but Germany, Belgium, Japan, and Spain. The Japan qualification, they had to wait. It was the most emotional to try to qualify for Tokyo at home.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was going to happen for a while.
Li Shijia, 28.466. The team, and 14.166.
Good score, but once again, not in the same ballpark as what the USA has been putting up or will put up with Simone Biles in the anchor position.
Melanie de Jesus dos Santos from France getting ready, the 19-year-old from Saint-Marie.
Just an absolutely gorgeous gymnast. Beautiful lines, has all the qualities. She's powerful, has the artistic component, the grace, has the lines. A pleasure to watch. She's in many competitions been right at the point where she's challenging for not just a medal, but maybe even the top spot.
6th in the all-around, 2018.
France, of course, 4th position after the qualifying. Very nice release combination.
Beautiful.
Has a real lightness to her work. Doesn't look labored. You're supposed to do the hardest stuff in gymnastics and make it look easy. And Melanie certainly does that. Big dismount typically. Full twisting double layout.
Born in Martinique, a French overseas region in the Caribbean, and we'll get the number in a moment. But over to vault, and now it is time for Simone Biles.
She'll do the same vault that we just saw Jade Carey do. It's called a Cheng. Actually better than she did in qualifying. Really controlled the landing. She was a little bit too powerful in the prelims. Only a small little hop back. It's going to be a ginormous score.
So take a look here. She does a half turn onto the vault in a front 1.5. Body completely laid out. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. One thing she does is she is just faster. Her arms just rocket back and then to the table immediately. So she's able to just crush it. And that pushes her body higher than anyone else competing today goes.
Folks watching, in attendance, they were up and down, cheering throughout the qualifications.
Simone's well on her way to, wow.
15.4 the number, and
well,
the number overall for the team there.
As I was saying, she's well on her way to winning a 21st World Championship medal today. If they win that 5th consecutive title here today, that is going to make her the most decorated female gymnast in World Championship history.
Daria Spiridonova getting set on bars. Russia, of course, one of the favorites coming in.
And she really makes the team only because of this one event. She is an uneven bar specialist. In the past, she's done a little bit of balance beam. When she was younger, she did all of the events, but she made her team to compete on this one event. It's all she'll do, but she's really good at it.
Has won a world title, and we'll try to do that again later this week on this event.
She does that connection that Melnikova couldn't pull off. Beautiful work. Nice release. Got to go to a handstand everywhere. That one a little short. That one finishes late too. But a very solid routine. Got married this past year to Nikita Nagorny, one of the absolute contenders to win multiple gold here at these Stuttgart World Championships.
You would expect him, or coming in at least, that was the name that popped out first, right?
He's the best guy.
Had a great day in the qualifying competition, both him and Team Russia on the men's side.
Chi from China on vault.
Wow, and it's amazing. One of the problems, people have always said, you know, because of their stature, they're so tiny, the Chinese, you can't really bend the board well, but she somehow can. Amazing, great push. Look at the form in the air and very straight body position.
And that's kind of what they're known for. We'll see that on this next event, the uneven bars. They have just been so spectacular. I can't even remember since when, probably since the day they all started gymnastics. Everybody looks to the Chinese on the uneven bars, and the same really on the balance beam, just picture perfect form.
Been a great arena, hasn't it? This, I mean, it's been packed.
Sold out.
About every day.
Yeah, they said
energy.
They said that they'll seat over 100,000 people at these World Championships.
Spiridonova 14.766, the number.
Actually, was a little bit better. Broke into the 15s in the qualification.
14.6 for Chi from China on vault. Anna Perdereriu from Canada, the 17-year-old from Whitby, Ontario, getting set.
And she's tremendous on this event. Won a silver medal in 2018. Unfortunately, did not have the best routine in qualifying. Is in the 9th spot, but because there were 3 Chinese who placed ahead of her, one of them will get knocked out, so she'll have the opportunity come event finals.
And that's because, of course, only 2 per country, that dreaded rule.
Which often ends up hurting the Americans, too.
It does.
Well, mostly it hurts the Americans, yes, it does.
Both in the all-around and the event finals.
Oh, wait. Oh, we get the previous score from the gymnast here on beam.
And Terry, you know, you mentioned how difficult it is to wait before any event. I think it might be the absolute worst on the balance beam.
I never saw you look uncontrolled or super nervous. You always, you know, you looked excited. You looked
thanks,
pumped.
Did you feel that?
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
Did you feel that way? Or
no,
not?
I did not feel that way.
No. A back dive to a handstand. Really want to show the ending position, which she does well. These are much harder than they look. Boy, as you can see, some of the best in the world choose to take the risk and go for the bonus points that they get for doing that, but it is a lot harder than it looks. Of course, you come off the balance beam, it is a full point deduction.
Sometimes the hardest part too is getting back up and trying to get back on track, forgetting about that fall, especially when it's so early on in the routine.
And remember, you know, in the qualification, it may not have been that big of a deal because 4 up, you can throw out a low score. Not the situation here. 3 up, 3 count. Every single one is imperative.
Joanna Padereriu from Canada. The effort on beam to get things started for the Canadians here in Stuttgart. It was Simone Biles with this on vault, leading the way for the U.S. Giorgia Villa from Italy on vault. Saw her on floor in the first rotation.
She'll add an extra half turn. Maximum score of a 15.4. Great rebound, though. Just a couple of steps on the landing, though. You try to get your gymnast. What she really does, the nuts and bolts of the vault, great. Arms back well. Great height, because she gets a good block. But look, one step, and then she brings the other leg back as well. If she had brought the one she stepped on at first back forward, it would only be considered 1, but that's 2 steps.
Tim, you've had your share of serious injuries, but everybody dealing with some injury of some sort at this point.
Yeah, there's not a gymnast in the arena today or tomorrow with the men that isn't battling something. It's how you manage it.
Saw that lineup for the Americans over on uneven bars, but 14.666 for Villa from Italy. As they try to keep pace. And it'll be Grace McCallum who will be first to go for the Americans on the uneven bars. Said that experience last year at the World Championship, I mean, it was not only a thrill, but she said it really changed her. She belonged, gave her an outlook from this point forward that she could get to Tokyo and beyond. And the fact that she's a world champ. She said that never leaves. Once a world champ, you're always a world champ.
And that is the truth. She's really a very steady gymnast across the 4 events. Some athletes really excel on 1 or 2. She has had some struggles, though. This is easy for her now. This skill, she has had some falls both here and domestically in the U.S.
Beautiful today.
Still wants to connect to that skill. She can do it so easily in training, but oh boy. And that is a huge, huge error.
One of 6 kids in the family from Minnesota. Bit of a struggle on bars for Grace McCallum. Downey on vault for Great Britain with the step.
Good power, though. Very good rebound off the table. She really had a rough qualification. Just did not go her way at all. It took to her last event on vaulting, where she really did a tremendous job and qualified to the event finals.
Supposed to do all 4 events, but British Gymnastics announcing Georgia May Fenton would replace her on beam and floor. Grace McCallum, 12.966.
Yeah, it's a fall. It's a full point. You could, you know, if she stayed on the bar, you add 1 point to that, and it's a very respectable score.
Melanie de Jesus dos Santos, one of the rising stars, really since the Rio Games. One of those names to watch. Getting set on beam. Whoa.
Oh boy.
We've seen some mistakes and falls so far.
About from almost every country.
Russia had a fall on beam. The U.S., of course, with Grace on bars. I do not believe that China has faltered.
You know, it really is the team finals competition. I don't know about you, Tim, but I don't think there's another competition that you feel more pressure. The all-around competition, it's for yourself.
Because
individual,
other people are relying on you.
Absolutely, and especially when it is 3 athletes up on each event, all 3 scores have to count. So really the qualifying round of competition, yes, the scores, you know, you could be leading by so much more because you have that cushion and the pressure's not as high there.
Yeah, but thus far, I would say that this team final is a little messier than typical.
I'd have to agree with that.
She was 6th all around at last year's Worlds. Beautiful double back, just a small little hop, but remember, once again, you cannot throw out the lowest score.
And remember, France just outside the top 3, along with Italy, and trying to keep pace with the 3 that were on the podium last year.
Just way off to the side, right from the get-go. Even on the, I would say, even on the hurdle, she was off to the left.
Beautiful double back flip. See her shoulders up, chest up, just that hot back.
They were tremendous in qualifying. They looked like they were on a roll and they would not relent, but
set the bars for Simone Biles, who we told you has 20 medals from the World Championships. With one today, she would be alone at the top, but a 4-time world champ on floor, 2-time world champ on beam, a world champ last year, vault, uneven bars, the one that she'd love to get.
yes, absolutely. She won a medal in every discipline last year. And remember, she said it was a disaster. How would you like to have a disaster like that? I'd really like to have a disaster like that.
I think anybody would.
She'd love to get gold later this week on this, though, but they set it up. And a lot of this going on in between because everybody, each team, there's differences between teams, guys.
Well, you see Simone chalking up her grips right there. The thing, what you wear on your hands, and the Chinese athletes, a lot of the other athletes do not wear grips, and so they prefer honey or something a little sticky. Of course, alternating teams, you got to chalk up the bar differently.
Yeah, they put the honey and water on the bar, and it works great without grips, but can be very slippery with them. Big combo right here. Going for those handstands. She has a tremendous dismount. Double twisting, double somersault. I think it's the only one in the competition. Sky high and bam!
And how many times are we going to say that? The only one in the competition.
Unbelievable. What a job.
Especially, you know, of course, she doesn't really necessarily have a weak event. If anywhere, though, if anywhere, maybe she's a little bit more uncomfortable, not as strong, it would be here. And to go up after your teammate just fell, knowing that you cannot make a mistake, really, especially on the event that you probably don't feel the most confident on, that was spectacular.
Well, she's great there. She's just not as fabulous as everywhere else.
Yeah,
Exactly.
weak has a different definition when you talk about Simone
And I know
Biles.
some people are going to, you know, hear me say that and be like, well, she made the uneven bar finals, which she absolutely did.
The other side of it, after the number, Jesus dos Santos.
And, you know, it's that feeling of not just having the mistake, but feeling like you truly have disappointed your teammates and your country. It's really tough.
So part of that Olympic team silver medal in 2016, Angelina Melnikova from Russia.
Nicely done. This Russian team is slightly vulnerable. Next year, I believe they will be way better off. They have a number of junior gymnasts that will turn senior. You have to be 16 to be able to compete at an Olympics or a Worlds in the year of the championships. And she has really struggled on this in Stuttgart. I've seen her have a number of mistakes, but that was money right there.
You know, and as well as she does that skill, we'll see so many others do it. Really is probably one of my least favorite skills in gymnastics.
But I saw them very early on, and she fell on that. I lost count how many times she fell on that individual skill. Was flabbergasted, really. She actually trained a full twisting double. I don't think she'll do that here. Probably just the double pike. And it is.
You see her take a look off to the side before doing that?
What she was looking at, and we don't really see here on the screen, but on the side of the podium there is a big screen, and you are timed, and you only have 1 minute and 30 seconds, and if you go over time, you get deduction. So she was trying to figure out how many seconds she had to maybe take one last possible breath.
That would be somewhat disconcerting to look over and say, oh, I better go.
Yeah.
Well, you get a warning, and then you have to be off by 1:30. That was 1 minute, 22 seconds.
How about the number, guys, for Biles?
Wow, it's a little lower than I would have anticipated.
Saw that 8.4 in the execution. My opinion, way too low. That stuck landing at the end really sealed it, for me at least.
So, back to Mars, Liu Tingting, the 19-year-old from China.
But with that score, the second highest today, only behind Daria Spiridonova from Russia. Chinese really popularized that. And this is awesome. Watch all. Beautiful turn. Great support on that single arm. Oh, no.
Oh.
Unbelievable. unbelievable. That skill is Chinese gymnastics. They do it so well. They pioneered it. I know, Nastia, you did it.
I watch the Chinese gymnast in person, on YouTube, on videos all the time to try to truly learn the technique of these skills that she's doing.
Yeah, I remember I was at training for a World Championships, and I saw your dad after he watched the Chinese, and he was blown away by it, and he went back home and taught his daughter how to do it as well. Oh boy, and another, and this.
Oh my gosh.
And this is what can happen. Remember, 3 up, 3 count. She's completely over to the left side, has to stay in the middle of the bars on that. 2 major falls.
And you know, we talk about how easy that they typically make those skills look, but they are nothing near even being easy at all. You are slightly off just a little bit. Doing a full spin on one arm is so extremely difficult. You're off by a little bit, and something like that can happen.
So I would say that all of these problems probably culminate in 3 points less in a team score. And they don't have that kind of a cushion.
That's big. That's huge. And what must have been running through her mind when all that was happening, Melnikova 13-7-6-6. And there's the Russian team score, almost 70.
And that opens the door, what the Chinese just did right there. Even for a team like Russia, who already had a fall on the balance beam, they're kind of looking at that and thinking, okay, you know, now maybe we do have a chance still to get that silver medal.
It opens the door for a bunch of teams. A team like Canada, if they can go straight through the competition without counting a fall.
And here is the 24-year-old from Canada, Ellie Black, getting set on floor, regarded as the best Canadian gymnast that we have seen.
Runner-up in 2017 in the all-around to Morgan Hurd. She did that at home in Montreal. She had really said in a lot of ways that she was going to hang on after Rio. She wanted to compete at home at a World Championships. It went spectacularly for her, and I believe that was very much a catalyst for why we're seeing her here today and on the road to Tokyo.
It was a big-time deal for Canada to have a world medal in the all-around. Halifax, Nova Scotia. And really the leader of that Canadian team and the veteran.
And, you know, we had a chance to talk to her, you know, in the mixed zone after the qualification, and you can ask about Ellie Black all day long, and she just will defer right back. We are here. We are Team Canada. We support everybody. That's why we're here. We're going to make it to the Olympics. A great routine, you know, she Some people criticized her in 2017 for maybe not having the toughest tumbling. She has really upgraded to major combination tumbling passes. Look at this one right here. A 2.5 twist into a double pike. She did another one at the beginning that led to a triple twist. She has really been on a roll. She won the all-around and vault at this summer's Pan American Games, and she won it the last time too, being the most decorated Canadian to compete at the Pan American Games.
All right, over to uneven bars, and the last of the 3 Americans to go. The 16-year-old from St. Paul, Minnesota, Suni Lee. All-around silver medalist this season at the National Championships.
And she has a combination of 4 skills in a row that she's capable of doing and can really do it gorgeous. The first release is gigantic, and then there are 3 more. She doesn't have to connect them, and sometimes if it's a little off, she'll make an adjustment, but when she does, it is something to see.
Right here, right from the top. Take a look at this.
And one more down. It's a gorgeous look. Gonna do a 1.5 pirouette into a front flip.
Little low on that handstand,
Yes.
really far stretched. Almost caught on her fingertips. Wow.
Just spectacular.
And you kind of saw her face. She did a big-eyed wow because of that last release move. Really had to stretch her arms out far.
Well, you know, the first release that she does is, we look at her dismount right here. It's called a Nabiva for a great Russian gymnast. Nobody connects out of it. It's like basically the hardest skill being done on bars, and nobody connects out of it. She doesn't just connect out of it, she does 3 more skills in a row.
The Ting 11.9, so that's nearly 3 points lower than she got in qualifying, and China is now behind Italy, who was in 5th after the first rotation, Tim.
I'll tell you, I think that could have been a lot worse, without question.
That's a major part of this event here, the fall of China. So the number for Ellie Black.
Und das ist bereits Halbzeit in diesem Mannschaftswettbewerb der Frauen. Und auch hier brauchen wir noch mal ein bisschen Unterstützung für die Wartezeit für Anastasia.
Nastia Agafonova from Russia. Just about set on beam. And like we said, we've seen some mistakes and some falls. You mentioned the fall of the Russians. Take you back to this now, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very difficult skill. You see round off back layout, and it just, she wasn't able to hold on.
Yeah, if your shoulders, hips are too far off to the side, there's just no way you can hold on.
That was Lilia Kaimova from Russia that we saw in the fall on the beam as her teammate gets set to go.
Great Britain back on the vault here.
Nice double twist.
Alice Kinsella, 14.266, so just under 80 for the British team.
On balance beam, representing the Russian Federation, Anastasia Agafonova.
Agafonova now the 16-year-old on beam.
There are 2 head coaches for the Russian delegation, their husband and wife, Valentin and Andrei Rodionenko. And I saw Andrei after their podium training, and I said, so are you happy? And he goes, happy about what? It was a really rough go, but looked fantastic in qualifying.
Just a little bit off on everything, wobbled a little dance move right before that skill.
And
another one.
Wow. Unbelievable. So 2 falls for Russia on beam.
It really is, Tim. I don't know if I have recalled, in recent years at least, a team finals that has just had this many falls from so many different teams.
Just so everybody at home knows, the top 12 teams, it's done. They have earned a berth to Tokyo 2020. It's just who wants a medal here? This is not easy for a round off double back flip. Had some struggles in training on that as well, but
Nastia, but her real name, Anastasia. Did I come even close?
You were close. Good job.
Who else has that? I wonder whose name that is.
of course Russia is competing without their major veteran, Aliyah Mustafana. You know, back-to-back Olympic champion on the uneven bars and a Olympic all-around medalist both times.
Suni lead 14-7, 3-3. For the leaders, 87 and change for the U.S. And our excellent researcher, Sarah Hughes, who's celebrating a birthday today, tells me 5 of the top 6 teams have one fall. The U.S., the only one who doesn't.
Großbritannien, Italien, Spanien und Kanada.
So after the second rotation, the lead has grown for the U.S. 3.7, almost 7 points, 3.77. But it's Italy who's in second place. China is in third. Russia all the way down to 4th place at this point.
But Russia has the opportunity to really jump here. They're on vaulting. They've got 3 very strong vaulters.
And the U.S. on beam. Carey Eaker will get things started for the U.S. Then Suni Lee and Simone Biles will be the last of the 3.
Und los geht's.
You know, a lot of people in the world consider Carey Eaker, you know, if not one of the best beam workers in the world. Only had a 15.8 maximum start value given to her in qualification. That was plenty enough to qualify for the beam finals. The U.S. did inquire, and when you do that, they can raise the score or they can lower it, which they did by 4/10 and knocked her out of the finals. Really big sequence here. 3 skills in a row. Side aerial, 2 layout step outs.
Gorgeous.
Really nice.
And what really makes this routine so special is just how it moves so fluid. A little wobble there, but typically when she is confident and calm, it goes from one thing to the other, from both a dance element into a skill, right into another dance element.
There's a big combination right here, nicely done. This makes it much more difficult when you do 2 skills in front of the dismount. She'll do a round off back handspring and then 2.5 twist. Great job.
16-year-old from Green Valley, Missouri, was born in China, part of that team gold at the World Championships last year when she advanced to the beam final in Doha. The silver on beam at the 2018 and 19 U.S. Championships.
See, that was that combination, those 3 elements in a row, side aerial to 2 back layouts. So difficult, but so beautiful the way she does it.
Ellie Downey öffnete am Stufenbarren für Großbritannien.
My partner's dismount when she won Olympic gold.
Dann hier die nächste.
Nastia Lukin, 2.5 also, right, Nastia?
Minus the back handspring.
Yeah.
A little easier, I did.
But you know, I was talking about the difficulty score, the maximum score. 15.8 is what they initially gave her. They lowered it to 15.4. The U.S., a lot of times she was getting a maximum score of 16.6. So that's why they inquired. There are some leap elements in the routine. They're called ring leaps that they can be uber critical on, and they were.
And, you know, of course, that's obviously part of the sport, so subjective.
Naomi Visser from the Netherlands on vault next. Netherlands struggled to this point in 8th place.
I believe it'll be a 1.5. Gorgeous, really beautiful lines. Just a small little hop on the landing.
Villa from Italy on uneven bars. Italy with a big move to this point. It's always a bit misleading because the number is the number, but you don't know what the team, well, we do know what the team still has left.
They have beam left after this.
Yep.
And ending on beam, if you're in medal contention, is definitely not easy. Possible, obviously.
Gorgeous combination, beautiful flight. Another gymnast that does 4 in a row. Like I said, a reworked Italian team. 4 of these members, brand new, little bit off, and whoa, what a fight. And she's in trouble, wants to be in the middle of the bars. First year senior looks like she's a veteran, because this was very close to being a disaster.
Really, typically you kind of stay in the middle of the bar, obviously traveling a little bit when you do a turn, but you end up back in the middle, was completely off to the side.
Smiles for Visser, 14.066 for the Netherlands. Her weights.
Going to be very interesting to see what they actually do with the difficulty score. It'll be listed as D. E is for execution, which is out of a 10.0.
What do you think?
Well, it is 4/10 higher than they initially gave her, and a full 8/10 higher than she received finally in the qualification.
Chen Yile from China on being the 17-year-old. Seventh in the all-around at her first World Championship in Doha last year.
And if you are a fan of gymnastics, there are a few things you really want to do. You want to watch the Chinese work beam up close for a full rotation. I got to do that from about 15 feet away. Look at this. Gorgeous. An entire rotation from them. They had about 3 falls from the entire team.
So she was trying to connect these 2 elements into that one as well, and really took too much time in between for that to be a connection.
And really looking very careful, which can lead to lots of problems on beam. That was excellent. Acrobatic to 2 different leaps. The last one is that leap that is so severely evaluated. I thought that was picture perfect.
Gorgeous, a triple twist. Big hop back on that landing, but the judges are super critical, making sure that you get all 3 twists around.
That was excellent, though.
Just beautiful.
She didn't make the event final, but only because there were 2 gymnasts from China ahead of her in the standings in the qualifying.
And that was gorgeous. A lot of gymnasts are trying to do that laid out somersault, but they pike their body a little bit, but that is all the way around. Just a small hop on the landing. Bravo.
Villa from Italy, 14.266. And now a teammate. Kaimova from Russia. So important what happens from this point forward for Russia.
And personally, she's got to move on. You know, she had a fall on beam. Was great in the qualifying, but you know, she came off, which cost the Russian team over a full point, most likely. And she has some really big tumbling planned. I mean, this is from start to finish. I think here you have Simone, Biles, and then you have Jade, Carey doing the hardest tumbling. I would say she's third. Double layout, full out for her first pass.
A great recovery. Super difficult tumbling passes.
Kaimova, who tore a ligament in her ankle back in March of 2018, said it wasn't until the European Championships, which the Russians won, that it was actually healthy again, and she was fit. Lonely place, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is all new for the gymnasts. They really haven't done this before.
Yeah.
They are accustomed to coming off the event, greeting their coaches and their teammates. There are basically guides that go right up to the event, and they escort them directly to this area that will not be named.
No, we're going to come up with one by the end of the week. That's what you have to do. That's your assignment.
Okay,
by
I
the
got
end of
it.
the week. All right.
I got it.
Shellen Olsen a moment ago on vault for Canada.
Capable of doing big vaults, and that one is huge level of difficulty right there. The same vault we saw from both Simone and Jade. She doesn't complete this twist though. Look, it's not all the way around. She should be facing exactly forward when she meets the table, and the judges should definitely take that into account.
Second best last year in Doha. The silver, 14.7 for Olsen.
Actually competes for the University of Alabama.
Yep. Said it kind of freed her up right out her fun side.
Absolutely, and you know, she's been to other worlds, and she said this time it was a lot harder because she had really cut down on the level of difficulty that she'd been doing while competing in college.
It's an adjustment, isn't it? From that level to this level, much different.
Well, not just the routines and the difficulty, but the hours of training. I mean, when you were training for a world championships, you're typically training anywhere from 5 to 7 hours a day. Not so much in college when you're balancing gymnastics and a full load of school as well.
Still waiting for the score here.
You know, that's typically never a good sign.
It is.
When it's taking
Chandila,
this long.
and not only her, but Suni Lee is waiting to go next, so she's been waiting the entire time.
14.466 for Tora Tostotia from the Netherlands.
And And Suni had the second highest all-around score, as we've said, from qualification with a fall. And that fall came on her first major tumbling sequence, 3 skills in a row that end with a layout somersault.
You know, and it's hard. It's hard not to be thinking about that right in this moment, especially when it is taking the judges so long. You really just want to go out there and get it over with.
And I mentioned earlier the U.S., the only one of the top 6 teams without a fall. They did have a major mistake, though, at 1 point deduction. So they're not without mistakes.
No, they're not. They're not. But Suni certainly wants to stay on the beam. You know, the problem with Suni in this element is she's so good and she's so dynamic on it. You know, she flies much higher than most people on the salto skill, the laid out position.
So while they wait, Becky Downey from Great Britain has just been announced.
Phenomenal on this event.
She's been around for 4 Olympic cycles. She is the older sister to Ellie Downey.
14.0.
Lots of combinations once again. Here we go. Down to the low, very nicely done, connected.
Wow.
This is a mammoth routine. Oh! And there you got it. Gymnastics 101. Fly high and stick the landing.
We were waiting for that.
Took you a while. We finally got it. Well, there's the number, Genula. So a long wait for that number, and finally, Suni Lee is ready to go. That can be disconcerting, can it? I mean, that was extraordinarily long.
That was
the worst.
Yes.
It's the worst.
Needs to take a deep breath, do her visualization.
Does this gorgeous, has great rhythm on it. Some athletes have 3 major acrobatic elements in a row. She actually has 2 passes planned in addition to all the other stuff. And this is where she came off the beam in qualification. Oh, my goodness. She's not done either. Watch this side aerial. Actually does just 1 right there.
Gorgeous switch ring.
Beautiful. Really, you take a picture of that at the right point and it's stunning.
That's really what the judges are looking for. Head all the way back, that ring kick.
It's a fall, though.
Disappointing. Suni Lee, the 16-year-old. Back to Stuttgart in a moment. All right, back here in Stuttgart, and China and the U.S. on balance beam this 3rd rotation, as we are still awaiting Simone Biles. Liu Ting Ting, the 19-year-old, ready now.
She's fabulous on this event. Has to put those, not just 1 mistake, but 2 major mistakes that she had on her first event.
Suni Lee, the number and the disappointed look on her face.
She's the reigning world champion on this event. judges are looking for the acrobatics, but they're also looking for when they split their legs, they have to be 180 degrees. This is really nice, a handspring front and unreal. A lot of the Chinese historically did round-off layouts. This is kind of the new Chinese round-off layout. They're typically much more consistent on it. You know, over the years, I've had the opportunity to speak to them after competitions, and every single time it's the same thing. There's another check right there, and she didn't look off to me.
Those two elements.
Every single time in the mix zone with an interpreter, they say, what happened? What went wrong? And it's just, I was so nervous. I couldn't even still myself. And, you know, they're so phenomenal.
You know, but that's unfortunately part of the sport, as physically demanding as the sport of gymnastics, or really any professional sport is. The whole other side, and sometimes even more, is that mental challenge of not just being able to perform and do these incredible routines and training, but doing them in a pressure-filled situation like the team final.
And she is overtimed. We'll get a 1/10 of a point deduction on that. And this has been a really bleak day for this young lady. Watch this handspring front.
You just see her completely off, her shoulder, her left shoulder. Right after that first front handspring. And a very easy dismount, a round off double full.
Tough day for her. It's also been a tough day on beam overall.
You know, I wasn't going to mention this, Terry, but I'm starting to think that there's something wrong with this beam. Not to bring in my previous personal experiences, but last time we were here, a lot of similar things happened.
Well, there were Chinese after the podium training that did say that with the lighting here, they saw some shadows that they didn't really like on beam.
Ellie Black for Canada.
Wow. And she is just getting more and more powerful. Handspring front somersault in somewhat of a layout position, but could add another half to this vault. See, her hips are a little bit closed. That'll be a deduction. She'll still get the value that she was looking for, but wants to keep those hips more extended.
Not to overplay this, but to follow up on that, it's more theatrical lighting in here, and the lighting is a little different. Some of the athletes have said they haven't quite picked it up. 14.2 for Black.
Yeah, it's basically a new trend in gymnastics. They have done this, I believe this will be the third or the fourth World Championships in a row that they've gone with this look.
Oh, Simone looks nervous. Laughing and chatting. Now the game face starts to come on. 20 medals, looking for number 21 to be tops on the list by herself. Time of a 13.6 for Russia as they continue on floor. Man.
Wow. 3 points off in deductions, plus that overtime 1/10 penalty. Ouch.
Well, you talk numbers, and a bit of a controversy with that dismount too. We'll get to it more as we watch Simone Biles, though, made history. We saw it earlier in the qualifying. Another one named Biles in the record books, but here she is getting set to go on beam.
And I swear she's not smiling as much to the beam judges as she is to the other judges. She was not happy. Here's that really risky turn. She spins faster than anybody I've ever seen do it. This test for combination 3 in a row. Perfect.
Little off right there, missed the last connection, but recovered very well.
So we don't know if she's going to do that double-double. My guess is that she probably will. So it's 2 skills, back handspring, and then 2 flips with 2 twists if she does it, and she does it.
Playing it safe, but that is okay.
Parents love it. And I gotta say, during that, every gymnast in the arena, no one was sitting. They were all standing and staring and watching in awe.
Well, it's pretty much universal. What they did is they gave this skill, when she did a double-double, a G value, and it's just too low. It should have been 2/10 higher, only 1/10 higher than doing a full twist. If you do a double back and you add a full twist to it, it's 3/10 more.
The normal progression would take it there, and that's not where it went.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest of them all, and it really makes no sense to me, makes no sense to the whole gymnastics community, and Simone was very vocal about that as well.
The FIG, of course, saying that it was a safety issue.
Melanie de Jesus dos Santos from France.
It was awesome. I can't watch that routine and not smile. I mean, it just makes me feel good.
You know who else was smiling? Simone Biles, who was cheering for her, because Melanie has spent time the last couple of years training in Houston at Simone's gym with her.
Really, really strong tumbling. She grabbed the top spot in 2018. It's a double layout with a full twist. She won that gold medal at the European Championships on floor. She's wonderful.
How about the number, guys? 14.433. Pick it apart.
Yeah, this is how they've been on beam. They are so critical. That 8.233, that is a fabulous execution score.
You know, but of course those aren't the numbers that we're necessarily used to seeing in the United States. They're a little bit more lenient sometimes at, say, the national championships, but that's a routine that they will for sure take with them and move on to floor.
The young 15-year-old from China, Li Shijie.
That was a bizarre foot placement, don't you think?
Yeah, her heel almost off the beam there, but recovers.
There we go. Same element we just saw her teammate, Ting Ting, come off on. Okay, this is more like it. This is what we have grown accustomed to, you know, really for a couple of decades with Chinese gymnasts on balance beam. So you hear that ding or that bell, you have 10 seconds to complete the routine. She's at 129 now. And that one was close. I don't know. I'm looking at the scoreboard and it says 131, which is 1/10 or 1 second over, which would be a 1/10 of a point.
She was second on beat behind Simone Biles in the qualifying, and I missed her birthday. She turned 16 yesterday.
Aw.
Happy birthday.
So here is that front handspring front combination.
There's that dismount, so round off double back in a pike position. You great landing. Her shoulders, her chest up, just that hot.
Melanie 14.166.
That's a good score there.
In fact, the highest on floor today as the U.S. continues to lead here through 3. Jing on floor as China is there, and so is the U.S. the last rotation.
Well, very nicely presented. Not the hardest difficulty. The first tumbling run, really nice. That triple twist to a punch front somersault.
Hey guys, how about this? Italy's held on to second place. They've only won a team medal once. That was back in 1950 of bronze, and they're ahead of China and Russia.
Yeah, a lot.
And they can do it.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that could happen. Many thought that France would be in that discussion as well. It was really whether or not Russia was vulnerable, and they were and are.
But Italy on balance beam for this final rotation, and the U.S. that lead has been steady at the top.
Und da steht sie bereit mit ihrem Applaus für Melanie de Jesus dos Santos.
So Melanie once again, after what she did on floor in the last rotation, here she is on vault.
Double twisting Yurchenko. Really nicely done.
Gorgeous position in the air. Just explodes off of the table, had a little too much power, couldn't quite control that landing, so that hot back.
But you know, for years, she was not capable of doing this, even though she has tremendous power. When she was younger, she landed this vault really in a bad position and tore her ACL. Had the physical limitation to overcome, but also mentally it was really tough for her.
Tang Shijing 13.5.
Which is a good score on-floor exercise.
So it's the U.S. and Suni Lee, no doubt thinking about her dad, who's still recovering back at home in the hospital. That awful accident, serious injury. He fell off a ladder. She's been FaceTiming him, and she said he's got a brand new computer to watch her compete this week.
She has dedicated the entire competition to her father. Absolutely stunning. Oh my goodness, the tumbling, the artistic value. Wow, that was beautiful.
Making her dad proud at home.
Absolutely. Got him going in this arena too. They were into it. You think about how deep this team is. That new name just emerged at this level. And the names have changed throughout, but the U.S. has been dominant for a long time. Alexandra Chokoldina ready to go here for Russia.
Trying to do that same double twist. Actually, pretty darn good. Had some, once again, some struggles in the training halls here in Stuttgart on this. She is a newcomer for the Russian team. Nice block off the table. Nice landing too. Should get a really good score. Remember Grace McCallum, I think 14.6, same vault. We've seen a number of them. A little bit under that score. This should be at least 14.4, I would say. And it's a shame we didn't get to see her floor exercise because it is so charming and just a really playful exercise with kind of has a New Orleans beat to it a little.
14.633 for the 17-year-old making her World Championships debut. See what the number is here. 14.233.
A very big number.
So Chi from China will be next. So remember, China in third, Russia on the outside looking in, and Italy trying to hold on to that second spot, the silver medal.
And she actually was training, you know, for about a week leading up to the Worlds. A double twisting double somersault. She did not do it in the qualifications, only did a full twisting double. My guess, with the position that they're in, they will be a little conservative, and I think it's the right decision. Comes off right at the top.
great routine. You know, as we've kind of mentioned, China has not always been the strongest on vault and the floor exercise, but here today, those have been their two best events. Really struggled on their stronger events, the uneven bars and the balance beam, having major mistakes there.
Yeah, the great Liang Chao, Chinese-American coach, is now the head coach in China. He, of course, was the personal coach for both Gabby Douglas and Sean Johnson.
Melnikova on vault.
Nicely done. Really good block. Couple of hops. The first one will probably be 3/10 of a point. If she travels more than a meter on the hop, it's 3/10, but gets a good block. Pretty good form in the air. You see the scissored legs and a little bit of hips. Those judges know that second quarter turn hop, trying to cover that up.
The inquiry for Georgia Villa of Italy on balance beam has been denied.
You heard the announcement. Villa, the inquiry has been denied as Italy tries to hold on to second. Melnikova 14-5-3-3. They try to move up to capture a bronze. 1.3 points behind China heading into this final rotation. Chi 13-4-3-3.
It's good for them. It's absolutely a very good score for the Chinese women.
Dauert wohl noch einen ganz kleinen Moment, bis es am Boden weitergeht. Also vielleicht erleben wir hier Historisches heute Nachmittag mit einer Medaille für Italien. Einmal bislang mit der Mannschaft 1950.
And now on floor exercise representing the United States of America, Jade, Carey.
From France. And now it's Jade Carey, though, from the U.S. out on floor. Here we go.
Just jam-packed tumbling from start to finish. Double twisting, double layout for the mount. Out of bounds on that. It's a 3/10 step and one additional tenth for 1 foot out.
She was out once again. They're obviously pretty far ahead, had quite the lead, but you just never want to give up any extra tenths, especially on just a single step like that.
Yeah, it's not going to make a difference, though. You know, Jade is phenomenal on this event. And you got Simone Biles, the greatest of all time, batting cleanup.
But for some countries, that would make the difference.
Yes, you're right. It's really been the problem for Jade, is staying in bounds.
Well, that was a great routine. Of course, those 2 steps out of bounds. But, you know, Tim, you mentioned her staying in bounds, and we'll probably see the same from Simone. She's struggled to do that as well, just because they have so much power on all of their tumbling passes.
Kind of from Russia over on vault.
This is the first one we'll see today. This is a handspring front somersault with 1.5 twists in the laid out position. Really nicely done. Big step, but very powerful athlete. They're fighting, but Italy.
Shout outs.
Do you want to translate or
Just saying hi to someone.
Okay.
So forward facing vault, handspring, then a laid out somersault, 1.5 twists, little bit bent over. What the judges are looking for is a straight body as the feet are reaching for the mat.
Asia D'Amato, and a key part of this final rotation now.
Really risky mount. Handled it well. combo. There are a handful of twins competing at these World Championships, and she is one of them.
She and her sister Alice, part of the team.
Well, you certainly wouldn't pick balance beam to be the event you're finishing up on when you're on the cusp of winning your first world team medal in 70 years.
This routine and one more, they would need a combined 26.933 to stay on the podium. All right.
Job accomplished for her.
Just one more to go for them. And they know that.
The last time there was a team other than the U.S., China, and Russia on the women's team podium, 2007, Romania.
And it was right here in this same arena.
You're right. This could be that year, Tim.
Wow. I knew it was possible.
Time of 14.733. Give you your props. You were touting them early.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're a completely remade team. They have 4 new senior gymnasts, only one hold over from the last World Championships.
So the number for Jade, another look, 14.333.
Well, you know what? The whole world is looking at that floor routine and they're going, that is unbelievable. That is so incredibly difficult. But hold your breath, because right after this routine here, we'll see Simone takes it to a whole nother level.
Liu Ting from China.
Really needs to have a great routine here. Has struggled on her last 2 events, fallen 3 times in total. Oh boy, I am so happy for this athlete. Didn't do vaulting, only bars beam, and now this, and finally gets a hit set. She's gonna feel like she contributed to this team.
12,466 Punkte, 12.466 points.
But Tim would need a huge number in that race for 3rd place with Russia. You crunch the numbers, like 15.7, right in that range.
If that's the number she needs, they are not gonna get it.
Now, Ellie Black now for Canada on bars.
Nice release right here. A little bit of a You can see the spread of the legs, but where the judges, they're all on the side. And believe it or not, you cannot see that at all from the side. Does a very different dismount with a stick.
And what a day for her. Truly has been such a rock for Team Canada, not just here at this competition, but really for the last few years has really just helped bring Canada to not only team finals, but to world championship medals as well.
She is the MVP, without question.
Satisfaction perhaps in that floor routine, but a number that's not attainable. 13.433. So right now, that's how it stands. But
And it's a big but, Terry.
you said it. D'Amato 13.266, and just thrilled with that. And one more to go for Italy to try to do it as Simone waits.
Score for Alice Kinsella on balance beam 13.70.
So you got beam taking place with Italy, and it coming down to that whether they can get their first medal since 1950. And now you've got Simone just about set to go with Ron and Nelly watching. Yep, it's going to be Simone first. Here you go.
The triple-double. It comes right off the top.
Perfection.
You saw that little smile. She's supposed to connect that to a leap. She'll lose just, I think, 1/10 of a point. Means nothing.
Champions for the 5th consecutive time.
And 21 World Championship medals. She is the greatest of all time. You just can't say it enough. Wow.
Celebratory kiss, and now the hugs for Simone Biles. Is there anything in sports that makes you shake your head moment after moment like Simone Biles does?
Not for me. Absolutely not for me.
See, this is what I'm saying. I don't like that now she has to sit there by herself.
That's all right. We'll take another look.
So, 2 flips, there's 2 twists, there's the 3rd one. And the thing that's astounding is how easily she does it. I think that's the best one I've seen her do. Just a small little shuffle on the landing. It's unbelievable.
You know, it's almost like she heard me say that sometimes she struggles staying in balance. Today, that was absolutely not the case. Controlled her power so well.
That was her 3rd pass. Her last pass. This is just kind of a fun skill that Simone carries forward from some of her routines of old.
And we're not yet at that time where we just take it in stride. It's still, you sit there with your mouth wide open in awe.
Well, if you don't have your mouth open in awe, then you don't really understand just how great she is. The problem is she makes it look too easy.
Yeah, exactly. And the number 15, 3. The U.S. is going to win the gold once again. Russia, the silver, and Italy, as they announce it, and this place goes crazy, rounds out the top 3. And they're going to win the bronze medal in the women's team final.
Good for them.
Just watching them, I know we can't see on the screen, but watching them in the arena, it's a goosebump moment for them right now. They're jumping up and down, so excited.
So the U.S. celebrates, but so do the Italians. First time since 1950.
Wow.
There you go.
There we go.
Elisa Iorio was the last to go on beam. And we're going to take a look. And she knows what's at stake during this routine. Think of the pressure. And that's how it started.
And if she let that get into her head, if she didn't get right back on track, then that would not have happened. They would have finished off the podium. Italy waited till the last routine of the night to have their first mistake. But thankfully, the last part of her routine was fantastic.
And of course, they were hoping for any color medal, but they were in contention. Getting that silver medal, had she stayed on, that would have been very likely. But still, a bronze medal is a historic medal for them.
And going for it right there, it could have been really easy to take that second layout, step out, to be a little bit careful. I'm sure she didn't think she had the room there to do that. Their most famous gymnast as of late, Vanessa Ferrari, who was 2006 all-around world champion. She's at home. I'm sure she's cheering just as loudly.
As an athlete, think about what it took to come back, take that deep breath, get back up on the beam, and come through.
And you just see her fighting so hard to try to stay on that, thinking that she possibly just gave it up for the entire team.
So 6 of the last 8 turns into 7 of the last 9. The dominance continues at the World Championships for the U.S. women. So we're just kicking. We get a chance to watch Simone Biles and the U.S. women, but then Italy wins that bronze medal.
And the U.S. once again wins by nearly 6 points.
Yep. Dominance not only continues, but continues to increase. So that wraps things up from Stuttgart. Tomorrow, don't forget the Olympic Channel, our coverage, 7:45 a.m. The men's team final. And later tonight, the puck drops in Nashville at 8 p.m. on NBCSN. The Sharks taking on the Predators. For Tim Daggett, Nastia Lukin, Andrea Joyce, and our entire NBC Sports crew, I'm Terry Gannon saying so long for now from Stuttgart.